Hello.
Hey, there you go.
Uh,
How's it
your
going?
audio is not clear.
My audio?
Yes,
Okay,
it's garbling.
hang on a second. Interesting. Well, let me test my audio really quick.
Yep.
Hello, hello, hello.
Or maybe it's my speaker.
It seems like my audio is testing correctly. Um,
I think it's my speaker. Wait.
okay. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. All right. I think I can manage.
Okay, cool. And so I'm Joe from Building Link. I'm going to be kind of walking through everything today for Stuart Hall. And who are you?
My name is Albert Flores. I'm a doorman here.
Albert Flores. Nice to meet you.
Oh, thank you.
And I heard from Rebecca that you are the tech savvy um, the tech savvy employee that's going to be kind of showing everybody else the ropes. Is that right?
Yes, that's
All
correct.
right, cool. And is the super with you?
Yes, he's here with me.
Fantastic. And that's Mr. Batista, is it?
Yes, sure.
Nice to meet
Thank you. Thank you.
you. So I understand that you guys are going to be using a tablet at the front desk. Is that right?
Yes, I have the Galaxy tablet here.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to start with that. So I'm going to go ahead and share really quickly,
Hmm.
and you guys should be able to see a an app right now that says welcome building link trainer Stuart Hall.
Where can I access that building link trainer?
Well, no, are you able to see my screen right now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, fantastic. Cool. So this is the app that you're going to want to download on that Galaxy. Okay, it's
Oh,
called Building Link GEO, and it's free app, free for everyone. And the only thing is when you tap on it, it's going to ask you to log in. So by the end of this call, I'll give you and Mr. Batista a username and
oh,
password. Okay,
oh,
each of you will have your own username and password,
okay,
and that you would be able to log in.
okay.
And as soon as you log in, this is the page that you see. So it'll say welcome your name at the top of the page, right? Of course. And that's important because everything that you do is date and timestamp. So the record shows who did what and when. So if you look back, you can see who put in a package, who signed out a package, who put in a maintenance request, who updated it, who did the work. So really important since you guys will be sharing that tablet, just make sure when your shift is over or something like that, just click on those three dots down at the bottom and hit that log out button.
Okay.
Okay. And that'll log you out. And then the next guy will have to log in. And again, you should always just see your name up here at the top. So just kind of quick overview of the app. Shouldn't take too long. I'm going to start with unit lookup right here. Unit lookup just allows you to look up all your resident information. You can look up by unit number, first name, last name, and you can do that by just tapping on the magnifying glass right up here, and it'll allow you to search, right? So say I was looking for somebody with the last name Smith, right? I can then tap on them, right? So in addition to all of the real units in the system, there is also a fake unit. So if you just noticed a second ago, in your unit list, there's one that doesn't exist, this one, 13X with Jane Smith and John Smith. So this is the test unit, right? If you guys ever want to test things out, kind of practice things, mess around, feel free to use this unit because these folks don't exist. And this will be the unit that I use for all of my examples today. But again, tap on any unit you want and you'll see the information about that unit. So you not only see the individual information, but you'd also see additional information about the unit down here. Do they have any packages? Are there any notes, right? Maintenance requests, of course, would be, any current maintenance requests, and amenity reservations would be upcoming reservations for that roof area. Sound good?
Yeah.
Cool. So I imagine most of the time you guys are going to use the app, and again, unit lookup makes that really easy. What I wanted to start with on the app is event log. Event log is where you can enter packages into the system. So I imagine like every other building in Manhattan, you guys are getting tons of packages. You need to put them in quickly. So the tablet lets you do that. You can just tap on event log right here, and to add something new, you just hit the plus sign and then you'd look at the item, choose what unit is getting it. So let's say it's again that bogus unit, we'll say 13X, tap their unit, and then we look at the type of package, and let's say it's UPS. So we just tap right here. We would choose, UPS, and then we can enter in an opening comment if we want to. Let's say this came from Walmart. And then if we want, we can tap right here where it says barcode. This will activate the camera on your Galaxy, and you hover over the tracking barcode, and it would scan that information in for you right here. Okay. And then you just hit save. And as soon as you hit save, it adds it to the system and it also sends an email and or text message to the residents of the unit, letting them know that they got a package.
Okay.
Okay. So pretty straightforward right there. The other thing, and of course now you're going to see one in there. And then, so I guess the other thing is, when a resident comes down to pick up their package, they let you know, hey, I'm going to pick up my package, or can you get that package for me? You want to remove it, right? Once you're no longer responsible for it, you want to get it out of there. So again, you can just pop back in your event log, choose the item that they're picking, right? And then hit go to close. And then typically what we'd see, if Mr. Smith came down and picked it up, you just put in Mr. Smith's name, right? If you wanted to get fancy, and based on my conversation with the property manager yesterday, it sounded like no. But if you needed somebody to sign for it, you can just tap right here and they get signed directly on the Galaxy screen. And then you just hit close event, right? So, and then it's gone. So then that record is saved in there, and I'll show you how to search the records later on. But essentially, the package got put in, there's a record, and then when it got picked up by the resident. Sound good?
Yes.
Cool. Still with me so far, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So a couple of examples in here I just wanted to kind of walk through in the event log is adding multiple packages, right? If you get a bunch of packages, let's say UPS comes and they drop off, 5, 10, 15 packages, something like that, and you want to put them in, more quickly, you don't want to have to do them one at a time. You can use this button right here, add multiple events. Tap on add multiple, and then you just choose, what company just showed up and dropped all this off. And let's say Amazon, because Amazon drops off so much stuff. And then you just hit add Amazon, and it'll save you one step. So you would just tap the unit, you say, okay, this one's for 13X. And then you would, of course, put in your opening comment. Let's say this one this one says it's a Nike box or something like that. You can put that in, or just scan the barcode, or both, whatever you want to do, and then go ahead and hit save. And again, that adds it to the system. And then you just hit add Amazon again, right? And say they got another one. And, again, we can tap on that magnifying glass, look up our unit, choose the correct unit, and then put in, let's say this one came from, I have no imagination, let's say Adidas, right? Or we can scan it also if we want to, and then hit save. And you can just add one after another, after another, after another, right? And then when you're done,
Yeah, sorry.
When you're done, you just hit that back button, and that'll add those 2 events to your event log. And again, it will send out the notifications to the residents, letting them know, hey, you got packages, right?
Quick question. Can I add also a different apartment to that multiple events?
Yeah, of course. Yes. Oh, great question. I should have explained that. Yes. Yeah. When you hit add multiple, really the only thing that's pre-selected for you is the type, right? So you don't have to select the type each time, but yes, you can of course choose different units.
Okay.
And of course they show here in your event log. So that's a quicker way to add multiple packages. And of course they show up here. So if a resident wants to come down and pick one up, right, you just click on it and you close it out like we did before. But this list is going to get long. People get a lot of stuff, right? You got a lot of residents. So what you're going to want to do sometimes is if a resident comes down and they're like, hey, I know I have some packages, right? I'm going to pick them all up, right? You can hit close multiple events right here. And then you can filter by event type or by unit. Most times you're going to go by unit, because you're going to say, okay, Mr. Smith came downstairs. He said he's here to pick up packages. And you just click on the unit and it'll bring up all the packages that you have for that unit. You say, oh, Mr. Smith, are you grabbing both of those? He says, yeah. You check them both off. You hit go to close. And then, of course, you can put in the comment, right? You hit Mr. Smith. And if you want him to sign for it, you can. And then you close them out. So that just prevents you from having to do one at a time when they're picking them up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool. So that's that. So that's entering packages and closing them out. Now, all of that is pretty good, right? Pretty simple. But we have this feature here called Imager that just blows all of that out of the water. It just makes it so much faster. So it's a little bit difficult for me to demonstrate, but you guys hopefully will really like it. The way this feature works is that as soon as you click on it, it activates the camera on your phone, on that Galaxy. And then you would just get all 4 corners of the shipping label onto the screen. And it'll be scanning for the information. So it'll if you hover over the label, it's going to scan for the name, the unit, and the tracking number all in one shot. And as soon as that information pops up on the screen, you'll see a save button. You hit save, and job is done. So you don't need to manually pick anything. Okay. So this is by far the fastest way to go. You just scan, save, scan, save, scan, save. Saves a lot of time. One thing that you should let everybody know is that always be in the habit of when the unit pops up, just look at the box, right? Make sure it got it right. If it's not right, you'll see a little rescan button here that'll allow you to rescan the package in. But sometimes, if the label is like smeared or ripped or something like that, it's going to have trouble, right? The camera's not going to be able to see the name or the unit correctly. So you'd also have the option to choose the correct unit. So just make sure, this one sometimes, because it's so quick, it makes people maybe a little bit lazy, and they're just like, oh, I'll just scan, save, scan, save, scan, save. And, the match rate is something like 98 or 99%, right? But you just don't want to enter in a package that's for, unit 13X and have it entered for 12A, right? Because then the wrong people get the email. So always make sure they're checking. But literally, they just, again, all four corners of the label onto the screen, it'll pick up the information, and they would, then the only thing that you have to choose is UPS, FedEx, DHL, whatever it is, and hit save.
Okay.
And of course, if you have 100 packages and you're going one after another, and you get tired, you can always hit pause, right? And that'll pause the camera from looking for information. Always just click right back on the play button. It'll pick it back up again. And then when you're done, you just hit the back button, and all the items that you enter here will appear in your event log. And of course, it will also send the email and text messages to the residents. All right. Still with me so far, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So next thing we're going to talk about, and this is a little bit for the super too, and I understand, Mr. Batista, that you are going on vacation on Friday and you're going away for 3 or 4 weeks. So I don't want to throw too much at you right now, but this is the start of the maintenance module. And from what I understand, your brother's going to be filling in for you, and he's familiar with Building Link. Is that right?
Right.
All right, awesome. So you, and Mr. Batista, what's your first name?
Marcelo.
Marcelo?
Yes.
Marcelo. Nice to meet you. You look pretty comfortable back there.
Mm-hmm.
So this right here, most likely you'll have it on your own phone, right? It just makes life so much easier, because as a super, chances are you're moving around all day, right? You're going to be moving to one apartment to another, right? You're going to be doing stuff. So having this on your phone is good. And again, this app is called Building Link GEO, and you have access to everything your staff have access to, and vice versa. And of course, you're probably not super concerned with putting in packages, but you have access to all of it. You can see all that. But maintenance requests right here. So maintenance requests, of course, are, hey, I got a leak. Hey, my light switch is broken. Hey, there's something wrong in the hallway, things like that. So in the future, residents are going to be able to put in these requests themselves, right? A resident is going to say, hey, I have a leak under my sink. It's going to automatically send you an email, and it'll pop up on your phone right here, right? You'll be able to pop it in. Same thing, staff are going to be able to put these in. You can put them in. But let's say that Albert is at the door, and a resident comes by and says, "Hey, Albert, I noticed a little leak under my kitchen sink. Can you let the super know?" Right? Of course, probably would call him or radio him or whatnot, but now you just put it in the system, right? It'll create the record. And so you just tap right here on maintenance requests, and this would show you a list of all of the open or current maintenance requests. If you want to put in something new, you just tap on the plus sign right here, and you would choose the unit, right? And you say, okay, what unit is it for? Let's say it's, that 13X unit, and you'd select the appropriate category, right? This sounds like a plumbing issue, so I just tap on plumbing. And then the description, you're just going to say resident, this is something Albert would do, resident reports leak under kitchen sink, or something like that. And then you just come down and hit save. And as soon as, like I said, when you hit save, that's going to automatically shoot an email to the super, letting them know, hey, there's a problem. And it would also send an email to the residents of the unit, letting them know that Albert put it in for them. And of course, now it's in the system. Make sense?
Yeah.
And then, so this is something that the super would do, not the doorman. But let's say he's like, okay, let me go check on this leak, right? You would just tap right on your maintenance request. You'd see the list of all the hey, all the issues in the building, and you would just tap on it, right? Say you're going to Unit 13X, you would see the information in here, right? So you'd see their phone numbers, you see the permission to enter. So I actually should have mentioned that before, but when you're putting in a new maintenance request, again, choose the unit category, what the issue is. You should ask the resident, hey, can I go into your unit and check on this leak, right? If they say yes, then set that to yes. If they say no, leave it as no. If they say yes, but call me first, then you would put in, call first or something like that. And that way, when the super, when Marcelo, you're looking at the maintenance request, you're going to be able to see right here what the access is. Hey, did the resident say I can come in or not? But let's, for example, say, you call these folks, and again, you'd be able to call them directly from your phone, of course, which is nice. And they say, yeah, you can go in and check on the leak or something like that. You would want to update this, right? Let's say you're like, well, I tightened it up, but we need to replace the trap or something like that. You just come down here to your activity log and you can just write whatever you want. And you can say, tightened, but will need to replace trap or something like that. And then you just hit that check mark and that will save your comment. And every comment, every update is saved down here, date and time stamped, and it shows who put it in. Also, when you add a comment, Marcelo, it will automatically send an email to the residents letting them know, hey, he came in and checked it. This is the update, right? I saw he just walked away, but
Yeah, something's going on
yeah,
outside.
okay. But if he say he wants to add a comment, like a note in there, but he doesn't want the residents to be able to see it, he can. So he just taps on add comment and then just hit make private, right? Make private. And you can say, say this unit smells terrible, something like that. That's something, of course, you don't want the residents to see, right? Then you make it private and you hit the check mark. And that would be visible to staff and to the super, of course, but we see the little lock icon that indicates that it's hidden from the residents. They can't see that information.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Everything that you do here in the app, all the residents see it or no? Just this thing?
The residents don't have access to this app.
Okay.
Yeah. So just keep in mind, residents can only see the information about their own unit.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Now, based on what Rebecca said yesterday, that's the property manager, she said that it's possible that one or two board members would have staff access. So there might be a chance that one or two board members can see all of this information too. So
Okay.
just keep that in mind.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, the other nice thing, and I don't know if Marcelo, you would want to use this, but a lot of times it's easier instead of writing stuff out, right? You might just want to take a picture of it. You'd say, well, hey, there's a crack in the plaster. Let me take a picture of this. Or like, hey, I'm going back up and I'm gonna re-rock this wall and and mud it up and paint it. Instead of writing all that stuff out, just take pictures. So you can just right here where it says photos documents, you can just snap photos. This will just activate the camera on your phone, and you can snap a photo and you can add as many photos as you want. So some guys, will write comments, of course, but they'll also take photos, right? So they'll just take a photo of the damage, and they take a photos of the work that's being done, then they take a photo of the finished product. And the benefit to all of this is that all of these records are saved permanently. So 6 months later, somebody's like, hey, I got a crack in the ceiling. You can go back and be like, hey, I just fixed this. What happened, right? Maybe it's coming from upstairs. So it gives you that core kind of benefit. So in this case, sorry, go ahead.
Good question. Is it
Yeah.
possible to take the photos from our phone and transfer it to the app or no?
Yes.
Oh, it
Yeah.
allows.
But yeah. So just remember that, again, this is you're going to be using a tablet, which is essentially a cell phone, right? It's essentially a nice big cell phone with a big screen. So, if you have photos on your device already, you would have the option to just upload from your library like any other app, right? If say Albert, you have a photo or something on your phone and you want to, you could of course Bluetooth it or send it to the Galaxy and then upload it if you want to. Of course, you could also just put this app on your phone if you want to. There's no restrictions on that.
Oh,
But based on what Rebecca said, it sounded like she wanted the doormen to use the tablet, not so much their personal cell phones.
okay.
Okay. But, generally just thinking ahead, right?
Yeah.
Like say you get to work and the tablet's missing or the tablet's broken or knock on wood,
Yeah, that's
it's not charged or something, right? Work doesn't stop, right? So you just say, well, hey, I got to put this on my phone. So as a backup, it might be a good idea to have the app on your phone too. But based on what Rebecca said, it sounded like, hey, we bought this tablet for you guys, but, not cheap and it's got a big screen, use it. And also a lot of properties, they think it's kind of a bad look if the doorman's on his phone. So, um,
Yeah,
so,
may not have information in his phone too, correct? That's not a good idea for the shareholder.
yeah, exactly. That's what she was saying too, right? Yeah. So that's why you guys use the tablet. But, in a pinch, right? God forbid the doorman before you broke the tablet or didn't charge it or something, you could pull it up. So the other thing I wanted to talk about maintenance requests is obviously when you look at the list, you're looking at the open maintenance request. That's the work that still needs to be done, right? So let's say you started on this one, but hey, I'm not going to be able to finish this today. I'm going to finish this on Friday, right? And of course, you're not going to finish anything on Friday because you're going on vacation, Marcelo. So bad example. But let's say that this work needs to be done on Friday. So you can change the request status, and you're going to see there are two other options in here, on hold or closed. And on hold would mean, hey, I'm going to do this at a later date, right? So we'll do this example, say on hold, and then you choose on hold until, right? What day am I going to finish this work? So you'd say like the 30th. And then you hit OK, and then hit the check mark to save it. And now we're going to notice, hey, that doesn't show up in the list anymore because it's not open, it's on hold. So it allows you to kind of filter through the work that you're going to do right away versus the work that you're going to do later on. So I'm not sure if you need to do that. But if you tap on hold, of course, there it is. And if you can tap into it, you're going to see all the information. And again, you can add as many photos as you want. You know, let's say you went in, you replaced the trap, just tap in here. You could type out whatever you want, say replaced trap, and then hit that check mark. And if you want, there's also a couple basic responses. You can use these predefined responses right here, and you can just click on completed. That would pop in this message, your work has been completed. Please contact management if you have any questions. So it just makes things easier instead of you having to type out too much stuff. And then just hit the check mark, and again, that will add them like any other comment. And again, feel free to add more photos, whatever you want, and then close it out. You can click closed. And just remember, anytime you're changing the status, to save the change, hit the check mark. Very, very important step right here. When you close it out on the phone, once you close it out, I hit that check mark, it's gone. Okay, so just keep in mind, if you're on the app, once you close it out, it's gone, it's off the app, you can't access it anymore. So only close it out when you're actually really done with it. Make sense?
Yes.
Cool. One other maintenance example I want to do is for common areas, right? So obviously, you know, everybody's got their co-ops and whatnot, and I'm sure you do work in there, but also like you take care of the hallways, you take care of the lobby, you take care of the roof, you take care of the boilers, you take care of the elevators, things like that. And you want to keep, you know, records on that. So if you're putting in a maintenance request, let's say that, let's say, Albert, you go up to, the 10th floor or something like that, and you realize, hey, one of the elevator doors isn't working properly, or it's a little bit slow or something like that, and you want to put the record in the system. Just click on the plus sign and choose your unit. In this case, you choose the management unit. So the management unit just means anything that's not a co-op or an apartment, right? Choose the management unit, and then you choose the category, and you could say, elevators. And you again type out what the problem is. You can say, I noticed the left door on service elevator is slow, or something like that. And of course you can set the permission to enter to yes, because of course, Marcelo would be allowed to go in the elevator. And if you want to take a photo of the elevator door or something like that, of course you feel free to. And then you hit save, right? And now we're going to notice that one got added as an open maintenance request, and we see the category. And of course, it also sends the email to Marcelo letting him know, hey, we got an issue with the elevator. And then, you might click into it, and, you might add a comment like, hey, I called Otis, or I called Dyson Krupp, or whatever company that comes in. And then when they come in and finish the work, you're going to add your notes and then close it out, right? And again, this just allows you to keep all your records. And even though once you close it out, you can't see it on the app, you can find all those records. And I'll show you that in just a little bit. All right. So that's really kind of the basics of the app. The other important thing for Albert and the rest of the doormen are the notes, right? Who is allowed access to a unit, right? Who's got a nanny? Who's got a housekeeper? Who has an overnight guest? Who, things like that. That's going to all live here in front desk instructions. So do a couple different examples here. Let's say that, and I put one example in here already. We see 13X has a housekeeper named Martha Morris. She comes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, right? So that's like a note when somebody shows up at the building and says, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm here to see this person, you want to look that information up, make sure that person is good to go, right? So this is an example of one of them. And you can add new ones, right? So let's say that the residents of this unit 13X come down and they say, hey, we're going to have somebody staying with us. They're coming on Friday and they're going to stay all the way through Labor Day, and they're going to leave on Monday, right? You want to put that in just so that all the other guys know about it. So you just hit the plus sign here in instructions, and you would choose what unit is this for. Of course, we're going to choose 13X. And then you would just select the type of instruction, right? And we see that this one was added. I know you guys have different categories at this property, so I think Rebecca is going to create other options for you. But we see permission to enter temporary, unaccompanied overnight guests, housekeeper, dog walker, things like that. So in this case, I'll just say permission to enter temporary, and then you put in the instruction, and you could say, you know, per Mr. Smith, his brother Mike is coming on Friday. Geez, sorry, on Friday, and staying for say 3 nights or something like that. So then you'd set the start date, right? When is this guy actually coming? So you'd say, okay, he's actually coming on Friday, and you hit okay, and then you'd say expiration date. He's leaving on Labor Day, so you'd say, okay, I'm going to have it expire on Monday, right? And then you hit okay, and then just hit that check mark and save it, and now that instruction gets added to the list. All right.
Quick question.
So yeah.
We use guest forms. Is there do we need to put that guest form in that category or just
So great question. So like I was talking with Rebecca about that yesterday. So I understand that you guys have three different types of guest forms, right? You have unaccompanied overnight guest, and reoccurring guest, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So right now we see one of those has been created. I believe Rebecca is going to create the other 2 options in there. And the answer is yes. So residents can put these in themselves. A resident is going to be able to put one of these in themselves, and they'll see the information about, you know, don't Airbnb out your apartment, things like that. And anytime a new one of these gets put in, it also sends an email to the super, and it sends an email to Rebecca letting them know, hey, a resident put one of these in. So that way they can keep track of it. And again, you guys, I don't know, do you guys normally put these in, or is that something that the resident always goes
Yeah.
through management?
Right now we don't let anybody in unless they have this guest form. So
This form comes to me and then I print it out, then I give to the doorman. I go, I get
Right, right.
me the form will go to Rebecca and come to me, and then I print it out, I give to the doorman.
Right. I think that's so hopefully we're going to cut down a lot of steps on that. So I think the way it works right now is that, you know, a resident essentially clicks on a Google form, fills out the form. As soon as he fills it out, it automatically goes to Rebecca. Rebecca reviews it and then sends it to the super. The super prints it out and hands it to the doorman. And so that's a lot of different steps right there.
Or
So hopefully
uh,
this, what's that?
maybe she can put a note for us that, oh, this has a guest form, okay to come in. Is there
Ye-
now?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, there's a couple different ways it can be. Is there, and I guess the question is, does she ever really reject a guest form?
I have no idea.
Yeah, right, exactly. And
Um,
I doubt it. I think the real reason, and she was like, the real reason that we need to do this is because we don't want people subletting out their apartment, right? We don't want them doing Airbnbs and stuff. So it was a way essentially for her to know if somebody is putting in 30, 40, 50 guest forms a year, chances are they might be Airbnb out their place, right? So I think that's essentially what's happening. If it was necessary, we could like, and again, this is something I probably mentioned to Rebecca if she wants to set it up, but she could create different categories where essentially residents can put in a request, right? And you guys would see it as a request, and then she could approve it and you would see it change to approved. So I'm not sure if that's necessary. It didn't sound like it based on the conversation I had with her yesterday, but I could mention to her if you guys want to. But ultimately, if this is information that you guys do not put in, you can forget about what I just said. And ultimately the resident and Rebecca would put them in instead of you guys. And you guys would just see them on, what's that?
To us, that's necessary because that's why we get in trouble for that guest form because it causes a lot of trouble for us dormants. If that
So you guys don't put them in, or you do?
we do put that in, but sometimes the information doesn't come to us, and then we know the guest, we let them in, right? Because we know the guest,
Right.
so we get in trouble for that.
I see.
Yeah.
So you might want to touch, I mean, again, this might be something that do you guys have any kind of direct contact with Rebecca?
Yeah,
No.
yes, I get it.
Okay. So you guys might want to talk about like, hey, what might be the best method here just to kind of make it simpler instead of the resident going to Rebecca, Rebecca going to the super going to the doorman, right? Essentially, all that information can be put in for everybody to see, right? It's just essentially what kind of procedures do you guys put in place to make sure that doorman doesn't get hung out to dry, right? So, um, so yeah, I would say if what I just showed you is something that you guys shouldn't be doing or don't want to do, just remember residents can put these in on their own, and as soon as they do, it sends an email to the super and Rebecca. Okay, so that they're aware of it. And if it is the case where you do need to do it, then you just hit the plus sign and add in a new one like we just did. You can also remove them, right? Let's say that Mr. Smith comes downstairs and says, "Hey, Albert, we just had to fire," or our housekeeper just retired, right? She's not going to be coming anymore. We're looking for a new housekeeper. So in that case, you'd want to remove this housekeeper out of the system, right? So if you need to do that, you could click right here on instructions, and you would be able to edit the instruction. So you could just change it, right? You can add to it and you can say something like, per Mr., whatever you want, per Mr. Smith, she has retired or something like that. And then you can just hit expiration date and you can just say expire immediately, right? And that is going to remove it. And then to save that change, just hit the check mark and now that's gone. Okay, so that will remove it out of there. So this list that we're looking at right here, this instructions list will be the master list, every single instruction for every single unit on one page, right? So chances are this is gonna be a real pain to look at, right? There's gonna be so many, there's gonna be hundreds, So you could filter it out if you wanted to using these filters, but the easiest way to do it as a guy at the door is like you got to be quick. You need to look up information. What you do is you're just going to go to your unit lookup and you're just going to, somebody comes in and says, "Hey, I'm here to go to unit 13X." You just look up 13X and you would see all the information. You could check the instructions for that unit right here. So you just tap right here and it'll pull up the instructions just for that unit. So you'd be able to see. And say the person's not on the list, right? You go back a step and you just pick up the phone, give them a call, right? And you say, "Hey, I have somebody downstairs for you. Can I let them in?" So it just really kind of streamlines things, if you guys want. So that's kind of the basics there. The other thing I want to talk about, just coming back to, and you can always hit the back buttons, or you can also hit the home button, right? So you can hit these buttons down here, and there's shortcuts to different things too. Okay, so really up to you how you want to do it. But there's a couple other things in the event log that I want to talk about. So obviously we talked about packages coming in, right? Pretty easy. You can scan them in, you can manually enter them in. But then there are also a couple other things that Rebecca mentioned that you guys do, and one of which is contractors and visitors, right? When a contractor comes in, you normally have them sign in.
Yeah.
Do you guys also track when the contractor leaves, or just on the way in?
In the basement. In the basement.
You track when he leaves?
Yeah. They have
Okay.
the login sheets here in the basement.
Okay. So Rebecca was under the impression that the contractor normally goes to the doorman and then to like essentially check in, and then he goes in through the service entrance, or is that not right?
No,
Oh, no,
hold on. He go in, he go in and the doorman when he have to pick up the keys. All right. When he don't have to pick up the keys, he come right there, right in the freight entrance, the service center, and then he go to the apartment.
Got it. And is anybody at that freight entrance to sign people in, or he just is supposed to walk by and sign in on a book?
So he, sometimes the contractor signs, sometimes not, and you know how it is.
Yeah.
We have a very short staff here. You don't have a time to track every contractor.
Yeah.
When they leave, when he come in, that's fine because he have to pick up the key with the doorman. But but I'll be honest, I think the build one too much for me and my staff because we are only 7 guys here.
Right.
And it's
And you guys are on what? You guys are on what? 50th in the east side, is that right?
49 and first.
Oh, nice. That's a good area.
Yeah.
We go to do our best, to try to straight this out. It will take us little time. I can see that this is look like I need to go back to college.
Too complicated.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's like Albert, how do you feel about this? Is it pretty straightforward, you think?
Straightforward. It's just like, we need to familiarize ourselves to the app, but it's pretty straightforward.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
know to anybody here, and then that's the reason I'm putting him.
Albert, you're the key man. Sounds like you can leverage for a raise right about now.
His graduation phone, school phone, computer, or whatever it is. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, Albert, so if I'll show you in a little bit, but I'm going to show you the full website too, Albert, just so that you have a good background too, and the super ideally as well. But also just always feel like you can reach out to us. We're a New York-based company. We're down on 16th and 5th, right by Union Square. And you can call us anytime. You can shoot us emails. Like if you ever have questions about anything, we'll help you guys out.
Yeah.
I haven't been up to Midtown East in a while. My brother used to live up there and used to hang out there all the time, but he moved back to Brooklyn a few years ago. So anyway, so the event log. So I guess based on what Marcelo just said, it sounds like if the guy's going in through the service entrance or through the basement, chances are you aren't going to be able to track it. But the key difference is when a contractor takes a key, then he comes in. And chances are, if he takes a key, he needs to return that key too.
Mhm.
Correct.
Okay, cool. So then I'm going to set up kind of an important one for the doorman here. And what I'm going to do is just show you how to use it. So let's say I'm a contractor and I come in and I'm like, I need a key, and say I go to the doorman and I say, hey, I'm the kitchen contractor for unit 13X. Can I get the key? Of course, Albert is going to want to essentially put that in the system. Hey, I gave this guy a key. So you come back to your event log, just like you put in your packages, but you're going to click your plus sign and you're going to choose the unit, of course. In this case, what unit key are you giving out? And you're going to say, I'm giving out unit 13X, right? And choose that unit. And then you're going to choose the type, right? And what I just did is I created this one here, contractor with key. Okay. And just select contractor with key. And then you just put in the guy's name. You put in my name and you'd say, I gave him key, and say you put in the company information too. You can say, let's say it's NYC Kitchens or something like that. That's the name of my company. So now you're essentially noting, hey, I'm giving out the key for this unit to this guy. He works for this company, right? And again, if you want to get fancy, you can have him sign for it, right? You can say, okay, sign for that key, and I would sign my name, and then you hit save. And that puts that in the system. So when you look at your list, you know, hey, we gave this guy a key. He still got the key, right? Let's say he does his work. He comes back 5 hours later. He says, Albert, I'm all done. I'm here's the key back. I'm done for the day. You just click into the event log. You click on it, and you just hit go to close. And you would just say, key returned, right? Key returned or something like that. And that way, you know that you got the key back. It's gone, right?
Quick question.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have this list of inventories of keys that we have. So we
Yeah.
should we do it continually as manually write it in the book, or does this app capable of that, inventory?
So you could have it done. I mean, if it really depends on how comfortable you feel with all of this, Albert, and the rest of the guys. But some properties do it that way. And what they do is they create a list of all in here. They create a list of all the keys, right? All the units that have keys, right? And those stay in the system all the time.
Okay.
And then when you give out one of those keys, you would essentially close out the event to note, hey, I gave this key out, right? And then when you get it back, you would put it back in. I would say that is a little bit more complicated. I would say it's probably best just to note, and just like we just did, when you're giving a key out, note that you gave the key out. It appears on the list. When you get it back, close it out.
I think we should continue to do manually the keys because it's kind of simpler to do it that way. That just the keys.
Okay. I mean, it's completely up to you guys. It's not my job to change your procedures. If anything, it's the goal of this is to make life a little bit easier for the entire from management, super doorman residents, right? Just so that everybody's on the same page and all the records get saved. So the other types of items in here, right? Obviously, we use this for use these for packages. I just showed you, you could do contractors with the keys if you want to. The other things are like outgoing items. Like let's say a resident comes downstairs and he's like, "Hey Albert, my brother left his laptop in my apartment. Can I leave it with you here? And he's going to come grab it in a couple hours, right?" You'd say, "Yeah, sure." So you'd put that into the event log and you'd hit the plus sign. And of course, you'd choose the appropriate unit, right? And again, you can choose your unit and then you choose the type, right? And in this case, you'd select pickup item, right? It's an item that needs to be picked up by somebody else. And then you put in your comment and you can say, laptop, say laptop for Mike Smith. And say you put it in the closet or something like that. You put in closet or something, whatever kind of note you want to put in there. And then you hit save, and that adds it to the list. And the good thing about that is, right, say your shift is over, you go home, the next guy comes in to work the door, he would see that on the list, right? And then say, 4 or 5 hours later, the guy's brother comes in, he says, "Hey, my brother left my laptop for me. Can I pick it up?" Staff would just click in here and they would see, okay, yeah, let me go get it out of the closet. Let me give it to you, Mike. And then you hit go to close, right? Once you give it to them, close it out, and they could put in a note and you say picked up by Mike or something like that. You could have them sign for the laptop if you need to, and then you close it out. So it's just essentially any transaction, any item that's doormen are responsible for, put it in the system just so there's a record. And the real benefit of this is that, say a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, somebody complains about something. They're like, "Hey, where's this package?" Or "What happened to this item?" You can always find those records. All right, so it all gets saved. And instead of you guys like flipping back through pages of paper and stuff like that, it's saved in there. So obviously there's a ton of other options in here, but they all kind of work the same way, right? If clean laundry comes in, you're going to select dry cleaning laundry. If clothes get dropped off or packages get dropped off by a resident to go out, you can select laundry pickup, package return, right? And log those in. And then when UPS comes and takes it, or the dry cleaner comes and takes it, you would close them out, right? Just and then resident keys and permanent keys. So sounds like this was something that you guys were going to kind of track on your own. I wasn't really sure. Rebecca wasn't really sure either how you guys want to use this. If you want to stick with the logbook, that's okay. But for resident keys, this would be the case where, like, say I was a resident, I come downstairs, I say, "Hey, Albert, my mom is coming tonight. Can I give you this key and can you give it to her when she comes here?" Right? You would put that in the system as a resident key, right? And you would just choose, what unit is it for? And you would choose my unit. And then you would say, key for John's mom, and say the mother's name is Diane, right? And then you hit save. And now hey, we got a key for Diane. And then, when my mom comes tonight at like 7 o'clock, she says, "Hey, my son left a key for me." Of course, you just click into it, hit go to close, and you can say key picked, picked up by Diane, and then hit close event, and that would close it out of the system, right? So the other key type here, if we go back to the type, the other key type is permanent keys. This is the one that it sounds like you want to stick with the logbook, because and if you guys want to stick with the logbook, that's completely cool. But the way this one would work would essentially, you would anytime you're giving out one of those keys, you would select a permanent key, and you would say, "Okay, I'm giving out one of these keys. Who am I giving it to?" Right? And then when you get it back, you would close it out, kind of like the contractor, right? So do you ever give those keys out to other people besides contractors? I imagine you probably do for like nannies and
Yeah.
housekeepers, stuff like that. Yeah. So really up to you how you use these. And again, this list is fully customizable, right? If there's other things that you're like, "Hey, we keep track of this stuff, can we add that in?" The answer is yes. Rebecca can create those options for you. And of course, we could do it too at Building Link if you wanted to. So really, pretty straightforward. But again, up to you guys how these get used. The last one that we didn't talk about was visitors. Like when a visitor comes, you want to log that visitor in. Say my friend comes to the building, and he's like, "Hey, yeah, I'm here to see John Smith." You just log that visitor and click on visitor. What unit is the visitor going to? And then you would just put in the visitor's name, right? Say the visitor's name was, let's say it was Ryan Morris or something like that. And then you can have that visitor sign in if you wanted to. Again, it doesn't sound like the building needs to do this, but they can sign in and then hit that save button, and that would save the record. And you'll see that this will disappear automatically in just a few minutes because based on what management said, you guys don't track when visitors leave.
No.
So yeah, it'll disappear in just a moment. So yeah. So that's that. So that's kind of the basics. Scanning in packages, this is the fastest way. Any other, item, or you can always manually enter in here. We talked about front desk instructions. We talked about unit lookup. We saw all the information about maintenance requests. Building calendar. I'm not sure how this is going to be used, but if management decides to add things to the calendar, you guys would be able to see them, right? Things that might be coming up. It could be board meetings, could be staff meetings, could be, whatever. And it's really simple, right? You just see if there are things going on, you would see it in a list right down here. You'd also see it on the calendar. You can also jump month to month if you want to. Really straightforward. Add multiple. We saw this before, where you can just add one after another. Amazon, or UPS, whatever. Close multiple is what I showed you before, where if your unit has like 5 packages, you don't want to have to go to the event log, close out 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. You can close them all out at the same time. Amenity reservations. This is something that I think is going to be handled by the board based on what Rebecca said. But essentially, if a resident wants to use the roof, they will be able to put in a request and say, hey, I want to use the roof. And as soon as they do, it's going to email the board. And then the board would look over the request and either approve it or decline it. So when you click in here, you're going to be able to see the upcoming reservations for the roof. Now, I understand that the roof is closing down on September 1st, so chances are you're not going to see anything in here until next spring. Okay, but just to let you know, that's how that works. And then inspections, I'm not sure, Marcelo, this is really up to you. But if you want to create checklists for staff, you can, right? If there are like certain checklists or things like that, Marcelo can create those checklists and they would appear here. Obviously, there's nothing in here just yet. But if that happens, the staff member would tap on inspections, they tap on the plus sign, they would choose what checklist they want to do, and then they would hit start inspection, and it would load the checklist that Marcelo created. And then as an employee goes, he can check it off. Like, did I clean the elevator? Did I check the trash area? Did I check the fire exits, right? Things like that. And essentially check off what you've done. You can add notes, you can add photos, and then submit them. And ultimately those checklist records would be saved in the system permanently. So not sure if you guys would use this, but just imagine like down in Florida, all the properties have like hurricane checklists, right? So if a hurricane is coming, they do the checklist. Do we have to get the sandbags? Do we have to, do flood prevention? Did we get all the furniture and things like that? So, so inspection is a cool little feature. Not sure if you guys will use it. The last thing I want to show you on the app is the shift log. This is the staff notepad. So instead of like leaving pieces of paper for the next guy, right, or leaving sticky notes or things like that, you can just throw all that stuff in the shift log. So you tap in a shift log and you just hit the plus sign to add a note, and you'd hit add shift note. And then if it's related to a unit, you can relate it to a unit. But let's say Jimmy called and said he's running 20 minutes late. So you can say, Jimmy called and said he's running 20 minutes late, right? Something like that. And you hit add note, and that would add the note. It's going to show date, time, and of course it shows that I put this note in, right? So all staff would be able to see this. Just keep that in mind. Residents cannot see this, but staff can. So it'll log essentially all those notes. You can also add other notes. Like let's say you're in the lobby and you found a wallet, right? And you're like, oh, I better hold on to this. And so you look in the wallet and you realize, oh, this wallet is Mr. Smith's wallet. Let me, keep it safe. You'd want to add a note. You'd hit add shift note, and you would put in the note. You'd say found wallet, put in Super's office or something like that. And say again, you looked at the wallet and you realize it's related to a particular unit. You can choose that unit. You'd say, okay, it's Mr. Smith's wallet. And say you want to make this stand out a little bit, you can just mark it as high priority and then hit add note, and you'll see the difference. So you see the little exclamation point, that just means it's high priority, so it stands out a little bit. You'd see the note, and of course you'd see what unit's related to. Even if it's related to a unit, the residents can't see it. So keep that in mind. Everything in the shift log is staff only. So staff can see these notes, management can see these notes, residents cannot at all. All right. So that's the shift log, and all the shift log notes are saved in there forever. So if you ever need to look back at one, say a year from now, 6 months from now, whatever it is, you can always find it. All right. So that's everything. That's everything in the app right there. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, just as a reminder here, is if, again, when your shift is over, right, and say you're leaving for the day, you want to log yourself out. So to log yourself out, just click on these three dots right down here and just hit that log out button. All right. And that will log you out, and then the next staff member needs to log themselves in. So that's the app. So now the next thing I want to show you, and this is for both of you, Albert, obviously, and were there any questions before I move on?
No, none so far.
Okay, awesome. So next thing I want to show you guys is the full website. So again, on the tablet, you can access this too. And obviously, the super has a PC in his office, so he can access this. So I'm going to change my screen share really quickly. And just want to make this hopefully visible. Can you guys see my entire screen now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So what you're looking at here is the website, right? And to access the website, you just go to buildinglink.com, or sorry if this is really small, buildinglink.com. And that's us, that's our company. And to log in, you just hit the login button right up here in the top right. You see that? Cool. And when you hit that login button, it's going to take you to this page. You enter your username and your password, and you hit enter. So on the tablet, of course, it might be easy to use the app, but you can certainly use both. And I'm just going to blow this up. Is that okay? Can you guys see it okay now?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So just remember, this is the full website. So this is where you're going to have access to even more features if you want to. And so when you're logged in on the website, of course, you see the property name up here. You see ORCID. You should always see your name in the top right. That means that you're logged in. And of course, just like just like on the app, you want to log out when you're done. Just tap on your name, hit the log out button. All right. If you ever want to change your username or password, you can hit edit profile, and that's where you can make those changes. Now, if you ever need help with anything at all in BuildingLink or the app, you say you have a question or you forgot something or something's not working, just click on the help button right up here, and it'll open up our help site. And the help site has a ton of good information in it, but the key thing here is our phone number and our email address. If you guys need help, call us or shoot us an email. Again, calling, you get a real live American on the phone right away, and they're gonna be able to answer your questions if they need to. Chances are they're sitting in the office at 16th and 5th. So that's the help button right there. Help always up here in the top right. So some guys might like using the website more than the app. It's really, personal preference. So just kind of starting with, just remember unit lookup on the app, right? Tap here, see all the information. Same thing here in the quick search. You can look up anybody you want. You can look it up first name, last name, unit, all your resident information is in there already. And then of course, just click on any unit that you want, and that will show you all the information about the unit. So it'll show you what we call the unit overview. So it shows you all the resident information. It shows you those same notes that we saw before, right? Instructions, packages. This would show if they have any packages, right? It would show you additional information about the unit, lease move dates, things like that. Maintenance request records. If you want to, you see all the old records too. Reservations, of course, this would be upcoming reservations for the roof. If they have any pets, all the information about the unit just right there. So a couple things that are on the website that are not on the app. So reservations, and again, this is something that you guys don't have to worry about for now because your roof deck is closed all winter. But in the future, if you want to remember this, Albert, say a resident wants to make a reservation for the roof deck, you would say, hey, you guys can do that yourself. You can log into BuildingLink and do it yourself, or staff could put it in for a resident, and they would just hit add new next to reservations. And right now, server error because there's nothing active in the property. But then you would see the option to choose the roof reservation, choose the date, choose the time, and submit the request. And as soon as you submit the request, it would send it to the board, and the board would then handle it. Okay. So that's reservations right there. And of course, if you go to your quick search, you can always see that information. So just kind of tying the website back to the app. So this event log, just remember, this is where you would see all the packages, right? You can enter in packages, you could close them out and things like that. You'll also find that here in your front desk tab. If you click on event log, this would show you a page with all of your packages, right? So if you want, you can also work off the website too. Say you want to add a package, you hit record a new event, and you choose what unit got the package, right? Let's say it's 13X. What type of package? Same options that we saw on the app. and say this one is UPS. And then if you want, you can add your comment. You can say, you know, heavy, and say this one came from Petco. And then you can hit save event. And as soon as you do, that will add that item to the system here. And also you would see it on the app, right? So next time you look at the app, you're going to see, hey, that package is there, right? So the app and the website talk to each other. You're going to see the same information. All right. And then same thing, right? If a resident comes down to pick it up on the app, you can just click on it, right? Tap on it and close it out. Same thing on the website. You just click on that item and you mark it as closed. And then you would know, you know, you could say picked up by Mr. Smith, something like that. And you hit save event, and that'll remove it from here. And it'll also remove it from the app. So next time your app syncs, you're going to see that number 1 is going to disappear because that one got signed out. All right. So everyone can kind of see everything. Instructions, of course, these are going to be the master list of instructions, the housekeepers, the overnight guests, things like that, right? You're going to be able to see that master list here if you click on your instructions. Now you're going to say, well, Joe, how come it shows 1 on my phone, but I don't see anything on this list? And if you remember the one that we put in before, it was about the brother coming on Friday, right? He was coming on Friday and he was leaving on Labor Day. So right now we're looking at current instructions, but because we said that he's coming on Friday, he's not here yet, right? So he would be considered a future instruction. So we'd see future instruction. Okay, Mr. Smith's brother is coming on Friday. You see that? Okay. And then of course on Friday, this would move from future into current. And the nice thing is that on the expiration date, you know, on Monday, it would automatically disappear, right? Because it's no longer valid. So that's how that works. So that's instructions right there. One other thing, kind of big thing, is incident reports. Hopefully you don't really have to do this very much, but God forbid there's an incident at the property. Let's say, you know, there's an emergency or an accident or a resident got injured or something like that. And you're like, well, I want to write up a report and let management know. You could come here to incident reports. This feature does not exist on the app, but you click here on incident reports if you want to, and then you would hit create new incident report in the top. And then you would choose the incident type. And we're going to see all these different types of incidents. Well, let's say it was an injury or an accident, and up to you, minor or severe. What day did this happen? You can say it happened today, and let's say it happened at, you know, I don't know, let's say 10:45 a.m. We can choose 10:45 a.m. And then you can choose a location if you want to. If it happened in a certain unit, you can choose the unit. If it happened on a certain floor or a certain line, you can choose that. Or you could just type out whatever you want, right? Let's say the guy fell in the lobby and hurt his hip. Hit save location, and then you can say, you know, Mr. Smith of Unit 13X fell in the lobby, hurt his hip, asked me to call 911 or something like that, and then you hit proceed. And by hitting proceed, what it does is it saves your progress as a draft. So say you're in the middle of this and you're like, oh, I need to go call his wife and let her know he went to the hospital. You could pop up here to the quick search. You could look up his wife's phone number, give her a call, and then you say, well, I got to finish writing my report. So you come back to incident reports and you would see your draft, right? You could see it on here, or you can go back and you'd see it in the list as a draft. And when it's a draft, it means you're not done. So you can click into it and then you can add more information, right? Say you want to put in the note, like, you know, I called his wife to let her know he is at the hospital, something like that. And if you go down, you're going to see more fields. So if you want to add notes, you want to add other people that were involved in this. You know, if it was an accident or injury, you can say, yes, I called 911. Yes, the ambulance came. Yes, I spoke to so-and-so. You're going to see all sorts of fields that you can fill out related to an accident or injury. Chances are, Albert, you're not going to fill out all these, right? You just fill out whatever you think is important. And if you want, you can also add photos, documents down here. But really, the long and the short of it is just write up anything that you think is important, anything that management needs to know about this incident. And when you're done, just hit submit for approval. As soon as you hit submit for approval, it sends an email to Rebecca and it sends an email to Marcelo, letting them know, hey, this happened, right? And if you do that, it's going to say you hit OK, and that will trigger the email. And now you see it pending approval. And now that is when Rebecca will review it. She'll be able to add more information. She'll probably ask you like, hey, what happened? And ultimately she would finalize it to make it a permanent record. Sound good?
Yep.
Cool. Maintenance, of course, this is going to be, what we talked about here in maintenance requests. So if we see that one maintenance request I put in about the elevator door, same thing here. If you click into maintenance, you click on search requests. This is where you're going to see that, and notice the door in the left service elevator slow, right? So same thing. And, depending on what Marcelo likes to do, he could use his phone like we did before and update them, close them out, right? Things like that, add photos. You can do the same thing if he likes to work off the computer, he can just click on it and he can do the same thing. He can add his comment, I called Otis. They are coming on Friday, something like that. And you hit save, right? And that will save that comment. And again, all the comments get saved in here. He can also put it on hold like we did before. If the guy's coming on Friday, he can choose on hold and then say he's coming on Friday the 30th, change that status, and that record gets saved. He can also sign it out to employees or vendors. He can also add images, add documents if he wants to. And then just to show you, like if we go back to the search request page, now we don't see it on this list, but we can always go find those ones that are on hold by clicking on hold. Right. And that'll pull up that record. And then, say Otis comes and they, fix the door and everything's good. You just click into it. You'd add his comment and, you could say, Otis came and fixed or something like that. And then hit save. And that will save that comment. And when the work is done, just hit close. And that closes out that record, marks it as complete. Right. The big difference between the app and the website is that on the app, just remember, so we just close this one out. So again, the app will sync itself up every couple minutes automatically. If ever you don't see most recent information, just hit this sync button right up here on the top. That will sync up the app and we're gonna see that disappeared, right? Because we updated it on the computer, now it's updated on the phone. And the difference is that you can see open and on hold on the phone, but you can't see the closed records on the app, right? On the app, you can't see it, but on the full website, you can find every maintenance record that's ever been entered. So you can find any old maintenance request using the full website. So all your records are saved in there permanently. And Marcelo, just all of this information goes into your maintenance reports. So you can pull out reports, you can pull out yearly reports, monthly reports, you can reports by plumbing versus electrical, by unit, by time, whatever you want. So that's that. So that's kind of the basics. Anything confusing right now?
No, not really.
Okay, cool. There's a ton of other stuff in here in the maintenance section that, of course, I would encourage Marcelo to explore. Is he still with you?
Something's happening outside, so
Oh, okay. So I don't want to spend too much time on this, but there are a lot of other cool features in here. Equipment allows you to keep track of building equipment, right? Your boilers, your pumps, your air handlers, anything like that allows you to keep track of all that equipment. Inspections, if you remember, this is where those checklists get created. So I said you could create checklists, to do checklists, things like that. And once those checklists get created here, then staff can do them on their phones using this button right here. Vendors directory, this one could be handy. I'm not sure if Marcelo wants to use it, but vendors directory is just a way for you to keep a list of all the companies that come in and do work, right? If you're elevator guys, your plumbers, your electricians, your window guys, whatever it might be, this would be a list of companies. And right now, of course, it's blank, but you can add companies to the list right here. And that would be company name, address, phone numbers, things like that. And then if you really wanted to get fancy, you could, if a request comes in and you're like, hey, this is something the super can't handle, he needs to use a vendor, he can assign a request to a vendor and email them, contact them, things like that. So, and then this one, again, something I would have talked about with Marcelo if he's there, recurring tasks. This is a really good feature, and I hope one day you guys use it, but anything that needs to be done on a set schedule, right? If Marcelo is like, I need to recharge the fire extinguishers once a year. I need to get the elevators inspected every 6 months. I need to get, replace the carbon monoxide detectors every 5 years. I need to change the batteries in the smoke detectors once a month. Anything like that, he could just set up as a recurring task. And the way this works is he just clicks into recurring tasks. He would see a list of all the tasks and he could create new ones right here. And it's really, really simple. Just essentially write out what needs to be done. What unit is it for? Most of the time, these are for the management unit, which again is the building, not any co-op or apartment. And then essentially write out what needs to be done, what's the appropriate category, and then schedule it. right? And he can schedule it to happen every day, all the way up to every 5 years. He can select days of the week, months of the year, specific dates. He got to end after a certain amount of time. Essentially, you set up your schedule. And when you're done, you just come down to the bottom and you hit save. And once it's saved in there, every time it's set to come due, it will automatically pop up on the phone. It would automatically pop up in search requests. It would automatically send out emails to, whomever he wants as reminders. Hey, it's time to do this. So this is a really good one because every building in the world has stuff that they need to do on a set schedule. And this just allows them to make it happen automatically instead of having to do it each time or
That's
having to
available
remember.
only on desktop version, right?
So this, to create them, you have to create it on the desktop version. But once you create it,
It's
right?
on the
Exactly. So once you create it, depending on how you set it up, so say I chose this to happen this is something I did every month, and I did it on the first of the month. So I'd set it up to start on 9/1/2024, and I could set up my email reminders too. Who should get an email about this? And if I come down here and hit save, every first of the month, it would automatically create a new request that shows up here, and it would show up on the phone too. So it's essentially one of those things that you just set it and then you forget it, right? And it just does the work for you. It just does the work of reminding you on the appropriate day. So, so that's why this is a really good one, but completely up to you guys if you want to use it. If you have a little bit more time for me, I just want to show you, in the front desk tab, we talked about the event log, which is the same as this. We talked about instructions, which is the same as this. Incident reports, of course, just went through that about, the accident or the injury. So that's only on the full website, unfortunately. The other nice thing is the resident directory. So obviously unit lookup here, quick search allows you to look up one unit at a time, right? You're like, okay, I need to look up a unit. But resident directory allows you to see all the resident information on one page. So if you hit search, this would pull up every single person that lives at Stewart Hall, right? Unit, name, type of resident, email address, phone numbers, everything. So you could just see everybody on one page instead of, going one by one. You can filter it out too, which is nice. So say it's like, okay, hey, we're cutting the power to a certain section of the building, or we got to shut off the water in a certain section of the building. You can go to show advanced search options and say, okay, hey, I need to call everybody on the second and third floor. You just choose second and third floor, hit the search button, and it'll just filter out those units and list all their phone numbers. So things like that are definitely a little bit easier seeing bulk information on the full website as opposed to the app, but it just allows you to see kind of everything on one page. So, so that's that. And there's more in here. Manage tab, reservations. This would show you the list of all the upcoming roof reservations. Calendar, of course, would show you anything that management puts on the calendar. Units and occupants is another way to look at all the resident information. Library, most of the time this is going to be more for residents, but this would be documents and files that management puts in there for you guys to see. And then just coming back to the dashboard, just remember this dashboard page is the first page that you see when you log in. So this would be a shortcut to incident reports, shortcut to the package screen, shortcut to the maintenance list. And if there's anything happening right now or today, you would see it in this section right here. So just kind of a different way to look at information. And I guess the last thing would be, we talked about the shift log right here. Shift log, of course, is that those notes. And you also have access to that on the full site. So if you tap on your shift log, you're going to see those same things. And you can add notes here too. So say building link training is almost over, right? And I just hit add note, and that saves that note in there. And of course, you would also see that, like, next time you come back to your shift log on the app, you would see that note too. So I'm just tap that sync button, but you see that. So again, everything kind of works across app and website. All right. Any questions for me?
Yeah. How do I see the history of the packages?
Yeah. Good call. Yeah. Cool. So yeah,
Sometimes we give the package to the wrong person.
Yeah. Great question. Good one. So front desk event log, right? That's going to show you all the packages that you have right now, right? And again, if I add something here, it shows up on the phone. If I add something here, it shows up on the website. Now, all of the records you can find on the website by hitting this button right here, search event log. This will allow you to find any record of any package ever. And you can search by unit, you can search by status, you can search by type, you can search by date, you can search by, keyword like Petco or heavy or whatever. Or if say you want to just look at everything, just hit search, and that'll pull up every single item that has ever been entered in the system. And this sometimes runs a little bit slow depending on the records, but should have pulled up pretty quickly.
So that's only available at desktop version, right?
Correct. Yeah. So anytime you need to look up records, you got to go to the website. You got to go to the desktop version. The app is for like day-to-day use. Anything that's like current, right? That's going to show on the app, right? So same thing I was saying with like maintenance requests, records, right? So on the app, Marcelo and you guys will be able to see the work that needs to be done, right? The ones that are open are on hold, but you would come to the full website to load those. I'm just going to click off this for a second. Oh, there we go. There's all the records. So these are all the records of the items that we put in, right? And you can click in for even more information, right? So if you want more information, you can click into it and you'd be able to see, okay, who put this in, right? And then who closed it out. If you got a signature, you'd be able to see the signature too, right? So you'd be able to see all those records would stay here. Same thing, just more important for Marcelo, but the search requests, right? If somebody is like, well, I thought you just fixed this leak a month ago, right? He can go into search requests and he'd be able to look at all those closed requests too, see those previous records. So just remember all the records, the old records can be found here in your event log, search event log. Just that allows you to pull up any record. One other thing you can do, shortcut for you guys, which is cool, is say you're like, well, hey, I need to look up something recent and I don't want to look through all the records. You can also just go straight to the unit.
Mhm.
You can go straight to the unit. And if they have any current packages, you would see them right here. But if it's like, hey, a package for this unit 2 weeks ago, you just click on closed events and that will pull up all the record of their packages. So that's probably a faster way to look at it. And again, you can click into more information, right? You say, well, what happened to this Amazon package? You click into it and it'll show you the record. Okay, it got put in by Build and Link Trainer at 10 o'clock. It got picked up at 10:10. Got picked up by Mr. Smith. We see it was an Adidas package delivered by Amazon, right? So that might be a faster way to look. But great question. I'm sorry I forgot to show you that. Anything else?
That's it, I think.
Oh man. Okay. Cool. So any questions for me?
I'm going to the college first, finish my college because this is, I'm joking.
Well, it can be. I mean, of course, anything new can be a little intimidating. You use it for a couple days, and then all of a sudden you're going to realize, oh, it's pretty easy, especially on the phone, right? Because everybody's used to using their phone. So, but Albert, you feel comfortable with this? You feel
Yeah, it's pretty
okay?
straightforward. Just like
Good.
over because we're changing system, But
Yeah, well, you guys were doing everything on pen and paper before.
yes, until
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, of course it'll be a little bit of a change, but give it a week or so, and it'll become second nature. It'll become pretty simple, and it's really nice that they got you a tablet so that you can use the app, which makes things really simple, and you can also access the website too. So really up to the individual employee what they like better.
I have a
But
question.
yeah, go ahead.
I can do most of the things in my phone, all right? Because as you say, I'm on sometimes I'm in my office, sometimes I'm on the second floor, sometimes I'm on the 10th floor. Whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So just remember, this is what you're going to see on your phone. So both of you guys, I would encourage just download the app. The app is called Building Link GEO. Okay, and it's free for any Apple device or any Android device. So download it on that tablet. Marcelo, of course, feel free to put it on your phone. And what I'll do right now is I'm going to create a profile for each of you. So I'll create a username for Marcelo and a username for Albert. And then going forward, Rebecca should create the usernames and passwords for all the other staff and send it to them whenever she's ready.
So you say every doorman I have a different password,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, every person has their own profile or their own account so that the record shows who did what and when, right? So nobody gets in trouble for somebody else's mistake, right?
I have she's be able to go in like so any files for to Alba, whatever I will do, or just me to do, whatever it is, right?
Yeah, there's like the log.
The log. All right, that's a good.
Yeah, and for you as a Super Marcelo, the good thing is that when you look back through the record, you could see exactly who did things and when, right? So if a package goes missing, you know exactly which doorman to ask, right? Or if a maintenance request comes in and you need to look back and you say, well, when, hey, this got broken. I remember fixing this a couple weeks ago. What happened? Let me look back and find that exact record. So, so what I'm going to do now, hang on a second. Let me just pull up my other screen really quick. I know it's going to look a little funky here, but I'm just going to create employee accounts for you. So we see add new employee, and this is something that I'm going to do for, and I'll start with Marcelo. So Marcelo, and last name is Batista. Cool. And then come down here, hit suggest username. That creates the username for him. So, oh wait, I spelled it wrong. Batista. There we go. Suggest username. There we go. And give him maintenance level access. And I think I have, sorry, my screen's going to look all funky here for a moment, but I have all my notes and I think I have the email address, and that's stuarthall.inc@verizon.net, right?
Correct.
Cool. And I don't know if Rebecca wants to create a profile for your brother to use while you're away, or if you're just going to give him your username and password and access to your email. Completely up to you guys. But what I'll do right now is I'm going to click in here and I am going to stop my screen share really quickly. I just want to, because I don't want a password to pop up on the screen. So email login info, and I'm going to have it come from us. And send. And then I'm just going to create another employee account really quick. So I just sent Marcelo an email with his username and password. And then Albert, it's Albert Flores, right?
Yes.
And that's Flores.
Yes.
Cool. And suggest username. And what's the best email address for you, Albert?
Albert.flores78 at Yahoo.
78?
Yeah.
Okay. So albert.flores78@yahoo.com. So I am going to send you an email right now with your username and password as well. Okay, it's on its way. All right, so I think I'm just going to share my screen again. So any questions before we go?
None so far.
None. Okay, awesome. So just a reminder, again, if you guys are sharing that tablet, sharing any sort of device, just remember that when you're done, just click on your name and click that log out button. That will log you out of the website. Same thing on the app. Just click on the 3 dots right here and then just hit that log out button, and that will log you out of the app. All right. So just remember the website to log in is www.buildinglink.com. That will take you to this page, and you hit that login button, and that will allow you to log in. On the app, this is the icon you're looking for in the App Store, right up here in the top left, GEO Building Link. Yep, that's the one. And then when you log in, just tap login, enter your username and password, and you're in.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right. Cool. So
you send the email?
I did. Did you get it?
Not right now. Nope.
Well, let me make sure. I want to make sure that you guys have access.
Oh yeah, I got it now. Just now.
Oh, you did. Okay, cool. So yeah, just remember that's your username and your password. And if you so if you want to change your username or password, you can do it. When you log in, just click on your profile in the top right, and you would be able to update your username and password. I think you can also do it from the app. Let me actually just check real quick. If you want, we can see how to log into the app. Log in and just enter your username and your password. And I think you can do it from the app too if you guys are using the app. Let's see. So we're just back in, and you can click on. Maybe you cannot do it from the app. I think I lied. Yeah, I don't think you can. I don't think you can change your username or password from the app, but you can do it from the website. So if you'd like to do that, just log back in and just a reminder that just click right on your name and then click that edit profile button right here. And that'll allow you to do it. Edit profile. And oh, one other key thing to remind you guys of. So especially as you're getting used to using Building Link, right? You chances are, probably there's a little hesitation right now. You're like, well, I don't want to screw things up. So just remember that you can use the fake unit 13X. This unit is a fake unit. So if you want to test things out, practice anything, feel free to use this unit. Feel free to abuse this unit. Put in fake packages, put in fake maintenance requests, put in any sort of information you want on this just to get familiar. And again, just if you have any questions, just reach out to us. Click on help. We'll help out any of you guys. Any doorman, any staff member that needs help can of course reach out to us. All right. So I think that's everything. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, cool. So you know what? I'll shoot you guys a quick follow-up email in just a bit with the recording of this call. So if you guys ever need to look back at it, you can. Albert, if you're also, want to share it with your other doormen, you can, so they bring them up to speed a little bit. And also just for memory's sake. And I'll also tie in Rebecca and the super on and Marcelo on that too, just so that we're all on the same page. And I might also mention to Rebecca one more time about the instructions. Your concern about instructions, how you guys, how if that's something that residents should only be putting in those guest forms, right? How that should work, and she can let you know what's recommended. And yeah, I think that's it. And again, feel free to reach out to me as well. All right, guys. Well, you have a great rest of the day. Marcelo, enjoy your long vacation, and Albert, thanks for joining. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Take it easy.
Take care, guys. Bye.